Okay, so this is our new format. We're going to read the news together. It's called What's Up with the News, where we'll actually sit down and I'll read through all of the big stories of the day. And you can respond to them because some of it is really, there's a lot going on, guys, in the news right now. So let me just get straight to it now. Before we start looking at the news, a couple of things I wanted to share. We have a membership open on YouTube where you can sign on. There are 3 tiers. Pick the one that's comfortable for you, and sign on, support us, support the work that we're doing. That really helps us out. It helps us pay the fees of our team, be able to hire better journalists and be able to encourage younger people to take up this profession and continue to do the work that we're doing. For those of you who are joining right now, you can either sign up for our membership, you can support us on super chat as well. So do sign up with us. We're going to now start actually looking at the news. Just obviously, a lot of it is politics. We're going to first look at this entire sort of, the inheritance tax controversy. So this is what has happened, right? On Sunday, and I'll take you through first what happened on Sunday. On Sunday, this was a statement made by the Prime Minister during a campaign in Rajasthan. This is the first thing that happened, where he basically said that the Congress government used to say, and he pinned specifically this onto Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister. He said the Congress government used to say that Muslims have first right to the wealth in our country, and they will distribute all of the wealth to those who have more children and to what he called infiltrators or guspets. That was the words that he used. And when this statement was first made, it sort of caused a lot of troubled reactions on Twitter. People saying, what does he mean? Some people called it, including the opposition, called it hate speech. The Congress said that this is not what the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had said. He had in fact referred to all minorities and to all sort of oppressed communities, that they have the first right to the wealth of our country. But it did seem, of course, that the BJP was not backtracking. After that, Yogi Adityanath made a statement saying the Congress would bring Sharia law. After that, the Prime Minister made one more statement. But in the meantime, what happened was he reiterated that they're going to distribute the wealth of the country to and that's something you should be careful of. Now, Sam Pitroda, who is a advisor to the Congress party, made a statement. He's based in the States, right? So he lives in the US. He made a statement basically saying that, in the US, there is an inheritance tax where if someone leaves 100 million to their children, 55% of that goes to government and 45% of that goes to the kids. And that's over here. See, I'm just going to highlight that so you can see that. It's over there. And then he said it's an interesting law. And in India, we don't have that law. And if someone is worth 10 billion and he dies, his children get the full 10 billion. And people get nothing. These kind of issues we will have to debate and discuss, he said, end quote. And you can see that on your screen. That has now fueled this entire conversation again. So the Prime Minister, after that, making a statement saying, effectively, Congress ki loot zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi. They're effectively saying that they're going to take away your money even after you die. The Congress now says they will impose inheritance tax on anything you receive from your parents, or property that you accumulate by working hard, he says, will be given to your children. Now, here's the controversy. The Congress has not made clear what it means. It's not in the manifesto. There's nowhere in the manifesto does it say it is going to give wealth to Muslims. Nowhere in the manifesto does it say that it's going to bring in Sharia law or that it's going to bring in inheritance tax. But Sam Pitroda making this statement then does bring into question, is there something the Congress is planning that it's not telling us about? And as voters, we have the right to know. So the Prime Minister is pointing it out. The Congress has not come out and said, yes or no, we're thinking of inheritance tax or we're thinking of wealth tax. So we're only going to think of the really, really wealthy and not everybody else. Because the Prime Minister said very clearly that they're going to go after middle class people, the ones who are working really hard. And we know that in India, the sliver of the middle class actually resents the fact that they have to pay such a large amount of tax that they pay. the target here was very clearly the middle class, and the Congress has not offered any clear justification. In fact, my team has been trying to get in touch with someone from the Congress saying, please come in and explain to us your stand on these matters. But we've not had any luck so far. And there's really something that they need to do. They need to explain their stand on, on all of these things so that we understand this better. Let me just see. We have Sheldy, we have we have Anuj. Anuj, thanks so much for being a supporter. Let's take a look at this story. So this is what the Prime Minister has said. In response to that, this is Sam Petroda, the statement that he made to ANI, where he's basically now responded, and he said the statement is being twisted to divert attention on the inheritance tax. That is not what he meant. That's now what he's saying. It says you in your generation made wealth. So basically, this is the statement that he had made that I was talking about. It was a statement he made to ANI. He's now saying that it was taken out of context, but that's really the entire thing that is now played out. The Prime Minister going head to head, incidentally, here with Priyanka Gandhi. Priyanka Gandhi responded to the Prime Minister's statement that the Congress will take away your hard-earned money, it will take away your jewelry of our mothers and sisters. He also said on Sunday it would take away your Mangal Sutras, to which Priyanka Gandhi responded saying that, of 75 years of independence, the Congress has been in power for 55 of those. Have you ever had a situation where someone has taken your jewelry or taken your Mangal Sutra? She went on to then sort of draw a reference to her grandmother who was assassinated, to her father who was assassinated, saying that my mother has given up her Mangal Sutra, sacrificed it for this country. And, how can the Prime Minister be saying things like this at this point? They're misleading you. So that's, again, she's responded saying they're trying to mislead and scare people and sort of create a certain level of fear among the people. So Priyanka Gandhi sort of becoming very prominent as someone responding to the Prime Minister. It's an interesting change in the Congress party, because this would normally be, these sort of responses would either come from Rahul Gandhi or from Sonia Gandhi, but this time Priyanka Gandhi being a very prominent sort of campaigner at this point. I thought that was interesting. So the inheritance sort of story was really prominent today. The other thing that happened, and this is the second story I want to take you through, is the VVPAT case came up in Supreme Court, and the court has reserved its judgment, which basically means that it's heard all the arguments, it's asked for some more clarification, but it is not given its judgment yet. But we sort of got a clue on what the court is going to do. Now, let me give you a quick update as to what this case is about. Now, Prashant Bhushan, one of the one of the lawyers and a couple of others went to court saying that basically there is a problem with the EVM and the VVPAT. So the VVPAT is that little piece of paper that is generated every time you vote. It also generates a hard copy piece of paper, and you can see it inside that glass saying, okay, this is who I voted for. And in case there is a problem, or sometimes there's a random check, they check to see if those pieces of paper correspond with what the EVM is showing. Now, there were questions about the fact that every single EVM should be verified against paper, where right now it's just a random lot that is picked. That's fundamentally what the case is about. Today, this court was supposed to give its judgment. What it has said instead is this: can we issue an order on the basis of a suspicion? The report you are relying on says there has been no incident of hacking yet. We're not the controlling authority of another constitutional authority, referring to the Election Commission. We cannot tell the Election Commission how to do its job. The judgment of the Supreme Court, it says use VVPAT and it's allowed, but let's say match the slips. So basically, the court has said that we can't go back to ballots. That's not possible. You can't go back. There's enough chaos with ballots as well. And this was one of the things that it had observed earlier. But we sort of get a sense, really, and the court has asked clarification from the Election Commission, say, can the EVMs be reprogrammed or hacked, and what sort of microcontrollers are you using? And the Election Commission is responding to that. But effectively, it does seem like the court is not fully inclined to, at this point, judge against EVMs and say, go back to paper. And so late in the election, it's unlikely that the judgment will sort of disrupt the process. So effectively, it says, now let's see if any candidate apart from this 5% say that there are instances of misuse. But the court has reserved its judgment. These are the judges who, are looking at this case to the 18th of April, and that is when that judgment is likely to come in. So again, an interesting sort of their development, coming in from there. Priyanka Joseph has also come in to be a supporter. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Anoj. Really appreciate it. Let's take a look at some more stories, guys. Of course, Patanjali also came up, in Supreme Court, and I'll take you through that. So remember, we talked about it yesterday. Supreme Court pulled up Patanjali because the court had asked Patanjali to issue an apology in the newspapers for printing misleading ads. And the apology that Patanjali put out, you can see it there on the 22nd of April, tiny little thing in the newspaper. It got pulled up by the Supreme Court yesterday, saying that what is this tiny thing? When you put out an ad, you put this giant ad, but when you're putting an apology, it's so small. And then it actually asked for physical cutouts from the newspaper to see actual size. Now, Patanjali has reissued an apology today, and this is the apology that you can see on the left side of your screen. After the court had asked for a larger apology. So this has come out today. And Mukul Rohtgi, who is the senior advocate representing Patanjali, actually told the court that this has come out on Monday in 67 newspapers. So this is Patanjali's sort of apology, if you can read it. It basically says, in the wake of the ongoing matter before the Supreme Court, on behalf of the company, unconditional apology for non-compliance and disobedience of directions of the Honorable Court. We unconditionally extend the apology of holding a meeting and a press conference. We undertake that we abide by the directions most sincerely, and it is signed here at the bottom by Patanjali, Acharya Balkrishna, Swami Ramdev from Uttarakhand. So that apology has also come out today. Let's see if the Supreme Court finds this satisfactory or not. But really, the actions of Patanjali drawing a question over several things. To me, in that case, the part that I found most interesting was the Supreme Court pulling up the central government for writing a letter to all state governments, asking state governments not to take action against Patanjali for violating this particular rule, saying we're going to change the rule anyway. And the Supreme Court said, it's not within your power to do that. And it just points out sort of, how the system has been sort of going soft on some people, specifically during COVID, when this was a massive issue. The other big thing that happened today is the RBI banned Kotak Mahindra Bank from onboarding any new customers via its online and mobile banking channels. And it also has stopped the bank from issuing fresh credit cards. So it can continue. So people who are holding credit cards will continue to hold their credit cards with the bank, but they can't onboard any new customers. And they can't onboard any new customers through their, I beg your pardon, online and mobile banking. Apparently, this is because the bank was found deficient in its IT risk and information security governance, and it had been given a couple of responses by the RBI, and there was a continued failure on the part of the bank to address these concerns in a comprehensive and a timely manner, which is what the RBI has said in its release. So that's that story that's come out right now. Very interesting, though. What the RBI said is serious deficiencies and non-compliances were observed in areas of IT inventory management. So, and this is a particular problem, because I was just talking to one of my colleagues, to Ira, and we were talking about how data leaking is leading to a lot of scams, people making phone calls saying, I'm calling from your bank. And obviously, if banks like the RBI has said, Kotak Mahindra doesn't have adequate checks and measures when it comes to its security of its data, the security governance and its IT risk So then this becomes a massive issue. So it's good to see that the RBI is taking stringent steps, and not allowing banks to sort of play fast and loose with these rules and being really sort of, you know, really sort of strict with this. The other case that I wanted to bring to you, and this one's really interesting. So, Ajit Pawar used to be with the NCP, with Sharad Pawar. He's Sharad Pawar's nephew. He shifted last year, I think it was around July, if I'm not mistaken. He shifted and joined the Eknath Shinde Devendra Fadnavis government, and he became the Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Maharashtra. He is accused in the what is known as the Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank case by the Maharashtra police. The Maharashtra police today have filed a closure report and closed that case and effectively said that Ajit Pawar, his wife Sunitra Pawar, who's contesting this Lok Sabha election, and the nephew Rohit Pawar, who happens to be in the Sharad Pawar faction, have all been found that they did not, there's no criminal offense in the transactions. So here, this is what it is. No criminal offense in the transactions, and the case has been closed. So effectively, just to give you a recap of what this case is, the accusation was that the cooperative banks were sort of arm twisted into giving loans to sugar mills. The loans were then defaulted against, and then that asset was sold at a far lower rate to people who were interested. And so the bank made large losses. And that was effectively, what the accusation was. And this was the amount of money we were talking about. 1,343 crore rupees, so far have been recovered from that bank. And it was said that Ajit Pawar was, initially accused of this case of forcing the banks to sort of give loans that were then defaulted against and then sell those loans to other people. But now, hey, all is well that ends well, I guess. No criminal offense in that transaction is what the EOW of the Maharashtra police has said. And effectively, remember also the ED said that Chhagan Bhujbal is, they closed that case because they couldn't find the paperwork, they couldn't find the files in their office. The files are lost. So that case is also gone. And it's just interesting to see, effectively how this is all playing out. Now, coming out of the politics, because really a lot of politics is kind of depressing. This news has come out today. Red alert over severe heat wave. Rainfall is likely to bring, some relief. So we'll just go through where that's going to be. The Met Department has said for Odisha, West Bengal, Sikkim, Karnataka, severe heat wave conditions are going to continue. Isolated pockets of Bihar, Jharkhand, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Rayalaseema, coastal Karnataka will experience heat wave conditions during this period. Unfortunately, red alert for all of these areas for severe heat. Relief may be on the horizon for some regions as a fresh spell of rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms in northwest India is likely. But for the rest of us, it's going to be pretty hard going with the weather, especially in Karnataka. It seems that, this sort of thing is going to, the weather is going to continue to be really icky for a while. Hopefully, and climate change is a real thing. We're now hearing stories about how over the next few years, the Indian summer is going to be beyond human sort of tolerance. And it's going to become harder and harder given where we are at this point. Taking a look at a couple of stories coming in from across the world. This, again, freak weather. This is Athens. Has gone orange because of a dust storm that is carrying dust from the Sahara Desert in Africa over Greece. And this is what Greece has looked like in the last 24 hours. Stunning, really. And also in Finland, surprise snow in the middle of April where they're not used to having snow. Apparently, it's snowing there as well. So that's been a surprise. So again, freak weather happening across the world. In London today, horses from the cavalry got loose from near Buckingham Palace and ran through the streets and apparently collided with, as you can see, there's a bus there that a horse collided with and a car. And the horses, unfortunately, were injured by this. It was quite disturbing, and it took a while before they were able to get this under control. So that's effectively what's happening across the world. Um, I'm so glad to have so many of you join us. We're going to try and do this on a daily basis. I'll try and do it every day at 8 o'clock, or every day at, say, 7 o'clock in the evening, where you can just read the news, and it's a fun way to sort of just find out everything that's going on in the world right now. So let me know if this is something that we can do more often. For those of you who've joined us, Somnath Sen, thank you for becoming a supporter and for signing on. Joel Arhana, thank you for always being here for us. Priyanka Joseph, Anuj, uh, please sign on, become members, and we'll find more and more ways in which we can interact. We'll tell our members who we're going to interview next. You can write down your questions and send it to us in advance, and we can ask those questions on your behalf. For now, thank you so much for spending this time with me. We'll try and do more. We'll try and improve our output as well. You have a good evening.